So the idea of movement and vibration, if you consider it absolutely, that is fallacious, fictitious. So in every seeming activity, you should find the immovable presence of the soul. Akarmanicha karmayaha. Suppose you keep quiet. That keeping quiet is only possible for the body. You cannot similarly make the mind keep quiet. So what happens? In the so-called physical stillness or inactivity, the mind becomes all the more vibrant. So he says, see the immovable presence of the soul in all the activity, and in the so-called idleness or inactivity, understand that subtly in the inside sphere, the mind remains active. Thus, if you have this twofold perception, akarmani, karma, and karmani, akarma, sa buddhiman manushyeshu, of all the human beings, he is the really wise man, enlightened person, sa yuktaha, he is the man integrated spiritually, Krishna karma. He is the one who completely does all the activities. What is the final activity? To perceive this truth, to be enlightened by this truth, and to be restful there. Be an enlightened man. Now all these shlokas I recited and explained only in the context of this one. Pumso ayuktasya nanartho brahmassa gunadosha bhag karma karma vikarmedi gunadosha dhiyobhida. Now he says, tasmad yukta indriyagramo yukta chitta idam jagad atmani ikshasva vidatam atmanam mayadhishvare. Now after having explained the philosophy, the absolute state of things, Krishna now gives a functional, a practical instruction. What should you do, Uddhava? Tasmad, therefore, in the light of all that I have explained so far, yuktendriya gramo, yukta chitta idam jagad, yuktendriya gramaha, have a uniform control and moderation over all the senses of the body. What are the senses? Eye, ear, nose, tongue and skin. Then hands, feet, etc. Now have a uniform moderation over all this. Yukta chitta idam jagad. The same moderation and control you must have over the inner mind also. So gaining control over the senses, gaining moderation and purification in the mind. What should you do? Atmani ikshasva vidatam atmanam mayadhishvare idam jagad. This world, which world? The creation that surrounds you, including your own body. Your body is an inner perimeter. It surrounds your consciousness. Then the air outside surrounds further. The objects outside is the still outer circle. The whole universe is the outermost. So this Jagat, including your body, Atmani Ikshasva, understand that all of them are rooted inwardly in the consciousness, in the self. Vidadam, it is spread out. It is an extension, an expansion, a becoming of your own inner self. A becoming. Like water becomes the ice. This is becoming of your consciousness. And when you understand that all these are spread forth, extended, projected by the consciousness, by yourself, Atmanam Mayadhishvare. This Atma is really seated in me in its own larger magnitude. That is called Ishvara. Mayi Adhishvare. So what does it mean now here? The whole universe has got no existence besides you. It is rooted in your own inward, inmost self. If at all, it is an Vikasita Rupa, an expanded form of yourself. So understand that all are rooted inside you, inside you. When you wake up, the world is perceived. When you go to sleep from wakefulness, the whole universe disappears. So the rising of the world and the setting of the world rests upon your wakefulness rising and wakefulness setting. Tasmad yuktendriya gramo yukta chitta idam jagad atmani kshasva vitatam atmanam mayyadishvare. This is what Bhagavata holds right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. In Hamsa Gita, Krishna has said, I must have referred to it or will refer to it if this discourse continues. Iksheheda vibhramamidam manaso vilasam drishtam vinashtam adilolam alada chakram vijnanameghamurudheva vibhadi maya swapnastritha gunavisarga krito vigalpaha. You know, these are some of the verses of Sreemad Bhagavatam which I want every one of my viewers to learn, commit to memory and then repeat now and then. Write these on your walls. Let there be 10, 15 or 25 verses from Sreemad Bhagavatam. What is this wall for? Let these verses be hung there. Iksheda vibhramamidam manaso vilasam drishtam vinashtam adilolam alada chakram. Iksheda vibhramamidam manaso vilasam. Can this fact be more openly said? This is from Hamsa Gita. What is that context? Sanaka and the others, the Kumaras, they are the Manasa Putras, mental children of Brahma. So they sat before their father and asked them a question. Our senses are constantly attracted by the objects of the world, and the objects are inlaid in the senses. Their mutuality and involvement, connection, weddedness, how to separate them? Is it possible for us to have any kind of a sensory control? They are so much involved with each other that separation or distinction between them is almost impossible. So what to do, my dear father? Tell us. Brahma did not know what to say. So he closed his eyes, thought about Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu came in the form of a swan, Hamsa. And the Hamsa with its beautiful gait, it came. When it came, suddenly it appeared there. So Sanagadis and Brahma, they asked, who are you? Who are you? So the swan picked up that question. What is this question? You say, who are you? That means I am, separate from all of you. On the one hand, your Brahma is there. Sanagadis, you people are there. I am also there. There is the ground. So you seem to be thinking so many things. What is this? Who are you? About what are you asking me? Are you asking about my body or are you asking about the soul? So a philosophical conversation took place. In that position, in that portion, the Hamsa is mentioning this. Iksheta vibhramamidam manaso vilasam drishtam. Everybody is saying, this world is drishta, it is visible, Swamiji. It is sensorily perceived, Swamiji. So how can we disregard them? Even if you don't see, another person sees. Which person sees? Who has eyes and who is wakeful? When I say you are seeing this world, you are creating this world, it is applicable to everybody. Let a person who has no eyes, let him see the world. The world will not be there. It is our eyes that perceive, and to employ the eyes there must be an inner mind, and the mind itself is a functional note of the Supreme Self, consciousness. So it is a jugglery of this consciousness. So understand, perceive, idam, drishtam, that visibility or being seen should not delude you. Being seen means what? There must be a seer. The seer comes first, then he gives rise to seeing. Thereafter the seen takes place. The whole process is not from outside to inside, from inside to outside. Though it is drishtam, it is visible. Vibhramamidam manaso vilasam. It is actually a mind display, a mind manifestation, a mind sportfulness, so to say. Vibhramam. It's all a result of agitation, confusion and delusion. Vinashtam. Every time it is getting destroyed. It is evanescent, ephemeral, fleeting, perishable. Adilolam, alada chakram. It's a trifling, so to say. There is not anything worthy in the whole world which you can trust and place your faith on. It is not possible. Alada chakram. It is just like a firebrand, which goes on revolving and thereby producing a circle of fire. That circle and fire are not there. Only a stick of fire is there. But because it is moving in great speed, which the eyes are not able to decipher or identify, then circle takes place. In the same manner, we are not able to perceive the objects of the world in absolute proximity and fullness. So they appear to be this, that and all. Drishtam vinashtam adilolam chakram. So if this is so, then what is the cause of the world? If the external world is a vibhrama, is a delusion, agitation, and it's all mind's display, then what is the truth? He says, Vijnanamekamuruddheva vibhati maya. Just like the firebrand in revolution produces a circle of fire, the consciousness in the body, Vijnanam ekam, that single consciousness, urudheva vibhati. Just like in the dream, what happens? The sleeper comfortably sleeps. The mind, intelligence and ego, all are withdrawn. No action, no interaction. In that quiet state of the mind, suddenly the dream display transpires. A parallel world is there in dream. The entire world is a becoming of the sleeper's mind. A becoming of the sleeper's mind. A becoming. So the mind becomes the gross objects. It becomes the earth, it becomes the sea, it becomes the air, it becomes the luminaries, it becomes Akasha, it becomes the hotel, it becomes the road, it becomes the aircraft. Everything is becoming of the mind. In the same manner, Vijnanamekamuruddheva vibhati maya swapnastratha guna visarga krito vigalpaha. Prakriti has got three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. And these gunas create all this display. They are Prakriti's constituents. They are not one's own, no humans. Swapnastratha guna visarga krito vigalpaha. So the entire vigalpa, doubt, agitation, wrong apprehension, misapprehension, all these things are nothing but a witchcraft thrown by the consciousness itself, by virtue of its power. Iksheda vibhramamidam manaso vilasam drishtam vinashtam adilolam alada chakram vijnanamekamurudheva vibhadi maya swapnastratha guna visarga krito vigalpaha. In Gita, 6th chapter, in verse number 29, he presents the same idea. Everything is a display and extension of the self. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshade yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. The 6th chapter is called Dhyana Yoga in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna speaks about meditation. What is this meditation? Sit in a place, after closing the door in a room, have a special asana for it. Sit cross-legged, interlock your fingers, put them on your lap, close your eyes. Physically you are ready for meditation. So meditation is first characterized by the stillness and non-activity of the body, including the eye. Eyes should not be open. Then you try to recede from the mind processes, intellectual processes, from the ego processes, until at last there is full silence, non-oscillation in your within. This is how you reach the self. After reaching the self, you understand that everything in you is pervaded by that self-presence, that inmost presence. As it is present in the whole of your body, permeating in the whole of the body, because of its subtle and permeative character, it pervades everywhere. Sarva bhutastham atmanam, sarva bhutani chatmani. Atmanam sarva bhutastham. As the consciousness is present in my body, because of its subtlety and pervasive character, it is present in all beings. See, take your own air, the air that you breathe. It is the same air that surrounds you and that is inside the bodies of others also. In the same manner, the Atma is all the more so. So understand that the Atma is present in you as well as in the others. Sarva bhutani chatmani. In the same manner, all bhutas are inhering in yourself. So he is providing both the alternates so that your understanding becomes perfect. If Atma is pervading in everything, everything is resting in Atma also. Ikshade yoga yukta Atma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Yoga yukta Atma sarvatra samadarshanaha ikshade. If you are sufficiently oriented and integrated by the spiritual yoga practice, then sarvatra samadarshanaha. It is not only your body, the body of human beings. Everything in this world will be laden with, interpenetrated by, permeated by the self-consciousness. There is nothing besides the orbit of consciousness. Sarva bhutastham sarva bhutani chatmani ikshade yoga yukta atma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Yo mam pashyadi sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyadi tasyaham na pranashyami sajame na pranashyadi. From which statement of Krishna I am coming to this? It is this. Tasmad yuktendriya gramo yukta chitta idam jagad atmani kshasva vidadam atmanam mayyadhishvare. Consider and understand everything to be in the self. And the self is seated in God. So everything is inhering in God and the self is inhering everywhere. The same idea he was explaining in Bhagavad Gita also. I thought you should know this. Yomam pashyadi sarvatra. Yaha, whoever, mam, me, pashyadi, sees, sarvatra, everywhere. You should not think that God is present only in the idol. No, not at all. Sarvatra, everywhere. Sarvam cha mayi pashyadi. In the same manner, all things are seated equally in God. So there should be no separation between God and the world. There cannot be a separateness about water and ice. Whatever is water, the same thing has become ice now. There is no water surviving there. But here, as any number of worlds may be produced, but you will find God is still beyond them. That is why he is called immanent and transcendent. Tasyaham na pranashyami sajame na pranashyadi. Only when you are able to see God everywhere and everything in God, na pranashyami aham tasya. I will never get lost for him. Sajame na pranashyadi. He will not be lost for me also. Devotees invariably have a complaint and a dejection. It's in a way a failure. What is that? I am not able to remember God always, remember God always. My dear viewers, how can you remember God always? Nor is it necessary. You are living in the world. You have a body. You have hunger and thirst. You are living with your relatives. You are surrounded by so many people, the world objects. You go to the office. So we are in the world. We are born into the world and we live in this world, interact with this world. Now you have to remember the world. Think of the world. Be concerned about it. Be concerned about yourself. So what is the way of remembering God always? Here is the clue. Understand it. See God everywhere. Everywhere. Whatever you look at, whatever you think about, whatever you debate upon, all are God. See God in everything and everything in God. Tasyaham na pranashyami. Then alone I will not be lost. I will not be lost. I will not be lost to them. And such a person will not be lost to me also. Because he becomes fused into the real God's magnitude. And God also gets penetrating into him. If thus you want to ensure an inseparability between you and God, there is only one option before you, my dear viewers. Yomam pashyati sarvatra. You must see God everywhere. Sarvam cha mai pashyati. And all things you see as inhering in God. That is the only way whereby you will not be lost to God and God will not be lost for you. Tasyaham na pranashyami, sajame na pranashyati. This is a very beautiful proposition, very beautiful. Ichchadvesha samuthena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargeyanti parantapa. This is verse number 27 from the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Listen to it. Ichchadvesha samuthena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargeyanti parantapa. Right at the time of creation he says sarge. Sarvabhutani sammoham yanti. All the beings are subject to a delusion. What is that delusion? Ichcha advesha samuthena dvandvamohena. It is a moha delusion which operates in the nature of dvandva. What is dvandva? A pair of opposites. The entire world is full of the pairs of opposites. What are they? Sukha dukkha in the mind level. Then you can have different multiples of these sukha dukkha's. Ishtanishtas, shatru mitra, swarga naraga, labha nashta, jaya parajaya. All these are different forms of dvandva. Now, considering everything to be pairs of opposites and developing a preference for one of them and a prejudice for another, and this giving rise to iccha and dvesha, love and hatred, this is the nature of that delusion. Everybody is gripped by it at the time of birth. Iccha dvesha samuthena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargeyanti parantapa. All beings are undergoing this delusion at the time of birth. So we have no option. What everyone has to do is, using his own paurusha, discretion or discrimination, employing his own will and wish, he must be able to overcome and sublimate this constantly operating love and hatred, preference and prejudice. We must be able to set them right, set them even. When the mind becomes even in this manner, you will find ihaivatayarjidas sargo yesham samye sthidam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmanite sthida. Ihaivatayarjidas sargo yesham samye sthidam manaha. You know, these are all beautiful verses. Many people are not able to spot them and place them properly, evaluate them properly. Iha eva, he says, in this world itself, while you are living, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, taihi sargaha jidaha, by them worldliness and the world have been conquered, won over. By whom? Esham manaha samye sthidam. Whose mind is sufficiently made even. If you are even-minded towards what? Towards dvandvas. The entire world is dvandvas, their samahara, their collection, their conglomeration, their aggregate. When the mind becomes even towards all the dvandvas, nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmanite sthida. Brahman, the supreme reality, is nirdosha, taintless, and it is sama, even. When our mind becomes even towards dvandvas, automatically we are in Brahman. You don't have to search for Brahman, meditate for Brahman, take an umbrella and a stick and undertake a pilgrimage for Brahman. No, not at all. Brahman becomes established in your own within. By what process? By the mind becoming even. By the mind becoming even. Nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmanite sthidah ihaivatayirjidas sargo yesham samye sthidam manaha. By those people whose mind has been established in samya, in evenness, the whole world is conquered, he says. What do you understand from this, my dear viewers? Are you getting the message? Your mind is within your body. The world is widely spread out, endlessly so. No matter whether it is endless and infinitely various, the whole impact of the world stands dissolved and conquered in your mind. They can do nothing. You conquer the whole world only because of one formula: evenness of the mind, evenness of the mind, harmony of the mind, integration of the mind. Ikaivatayirjidas sargo yesham samye sthidam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmanite sthidah. There is another verse, 26, in the same chapter, 5th chapter. Kamakrodha viyuktanam yadinam yatachetasam abhido brahma nirvanam vartade viditatmanam. Just see how beautifully Krishna has sung.